Welcome back to Goldseek TV. I'm here with an exciting update with Abra Silver. John Miniotis, the President CEO, thank you for joining us after some very big news. After hours yesterday, you announced over 250 million silver equivalent ounces. So please give us some more insights into this big update for Abra.
Thanks, Peter. It's always great to be on your show. Thanks for having me back. I'll just bring up my screen. I think that's probably the best way to provide an update here. Just show you some of the visuals that we have in our recent press release. Just give me a sec. You can see that?
Yes, looks good.
Yep, perfect. So yeah, in terms of the headline figures of our resource, you can see, I mean, we've announced over now close to 150 million ounces of silver and 1.4 million ounces of gold. And that's all in the measured and indicated category. So on a silver equivalent basis, as you mentioned, we now have well north of 250 million ounces of silver equivalent, or north of 250 million ounces of silver equivalent here. So this is getting to be a very sizable resource, and that's only silver and gold. There's no base metals here being converted to silver equivalent. And so this has now, significant scale, certainly a very large primary silver project. But what's very important is that we're not only increasing the size of the project, but it's the grades that are increasing significantly as well. And so you can see, the grades have increased by about 32%, the silver grades. So we now have silver grades approaching 90 grams per ton, plus gold grades of 0.8 grams per ton. And this is all close to surface in oxides, of course. So very, very high grade mineralization here.
And so what led to this big increase in the silver grades? I suspect it's mostly from the Jack discovery and the fantastic near surface silver grades you find there.
That's right. So at this new Jack zone, which is towards the southwest here of Oculto, this is by far the highest grade portion of the project. We announced there at Jack with just 1 year's worth of drilling, we already have over 5 million tons in measured and indicated at grades of over 200 grams per ton of silver. And that's shallow, that's flat lying, so excellent, favorable topography there as well, and much higher recovery rates. And so we expect to likely start mining at Jack. It's for sure going to be the most profitable ounces. So you want that early on in the mine plan. And you can see as Jack and eventually Oculto are mined out, the two deposits actually connect. And so that's another positive benefit here. So we found mineralization connecting Oculto to Jack. Obviously, there's a bit more drilling to be done there to see if there's more widespread mineralization there. But Jack has really helped boost the grades. And also at Oculto, we applied a higher cutoff grade there. And so we were able to increase the grades at Oculto as well.
So a lot of drilling work went into this to prove this deposit, these different deposits now, and you are indicating it is mostly in the measured and indicated category. I mean, it seems like almost 100%, not quite, but
yeah, I think it's over 95% measured and indicated.
so
Correct.
you
And so
have a
that allows us to incorporate that into the pre-feas. And then at the time of the pre-feas, we can declare a proven and probable reserve here as well.
excellent. So the pre-feasibility study is something you've been working on as well. So when is the target to release this?
Yeah, no, our team's been working diligently on that pretty much all this year. So it's quite advanced stage. Now that we have the official Jack resource, we can incorporate that into the mine plan, obviously optimize that. So within the next 2 months, I would say, we expect to have the pre-feas ready to be announced. So towards the end of January or maybe early February, we expect that to be completed.
How big of an update was this resource from last year's? You mentioned it was a 30-some% increase
Correct.
total. So
Uh,
and that must have been a lot more heavily weighted on the silver side with the Jack zone.
Correct. So in terms of overall silver equivalent, it was another 20% increase from last year. Now, silver increased a lot more than that, and obviously gold stayed relatively flat. But you can see the work the exploration team has done here over the years. So as you recall, Peter, myself, and the current management team, we got involved back in late December of 2019. So 3 years now worth of drilling. And every single year, we've been able to materially grow the amount of ounces here on a very, very cost-efficient basis. And so we've been, growing this here on average. Now we've essentially doubled the size in terms of measured and indicated here. It's gone from 130 million ounces silver equivalent to now close to 260 million ounces. And we've done that at an average all-in discovery cost of only 11 cents an ounce. So for every 11 cents we spend on exploration, we find an ounce of silver. So that's, a testament to our high quality exploration team. And really, I mean, what's changed here now over this past year, the Jack discovery has been a game changer in terms of how we view sort of the upside, the regional upside here. And so our knowledge of Diablillos has increased, exponentially, I would say, over the last 12 months alone. And so this is going to assist us in continuing to grow, this resource well outside of the current resource that we just announced.
So not only are you focused on the pre-feasibility study, you're continuing to release drill results. I saw from the Jack North zone. So just north of Jack, you're hitting some new nice discovery holes. So if you give us some insight to what you're focusing on the drilling side and how the geophysics have helped change where you're focusing these drill holes.
Correct. So we paused drilling for the time being. So we've completed our phase 3 campaign. Our next campaign will start after the pre-feasibility study is announced. So again, in January or early February. So in a couple months' time. We're just prioritizing now the drill targets for that campaign. But you mentioned Jack North. So this is the latest discovery here. This was not yet incorporated into the resource because there's only a handful of holes here. I think there was, I believe, 6 holes in total that we drilled there. But yeah, we got some excellent hits with that very limited drilling. And so looking to follow that up, that's a parallel zone that could run just to the north of Jack and likely connect to Jack. And then we have Alpaca, which is a step out target as well. And so we see mineralization here continuing out towards this direction, just like Phantasma, which continues out and likely could even connect to Oculto down the road. So some very, very high grade targets here, drilling Jack North, drilling Alpaca, and then looking to connect Phantasma, grow Phantasma, and connect it likely to Oculto. So those are probably the priority targets for next year. And then on top of that, deeper down in the system, we still have some high grade copper hits that we've yet to follow up on. But that's something certainly we'd be looking to do down the road at the right time.
This is a huge project in the sense there's a lot of different targets and a lot of different potential, even other new open pit maybe type of mine or pits that would come into this, or like you're saying here with Jack North, that could potentially even just kind of merge into that. So I can watching this discovery from the Oculto zone now develop into the Jack and then now Jack North. This is really growing into quite a large project. I would imagine you're starting to come up on more radar screens, especially from larger mining companies. What do you see happening right now? I know the market and the whole sector has had a very difficult past year, but we're also talking at a point where gold is really touching really close to record highs, and silver seems to be making moves. So what do you see happening right now, and maybe what you might see developing?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we've been popping up on people's radar screens for quite some time now. I mean, we have CAs in place, of course, so we can't mention any particular names there. But when you look at the landscape of silver projects, primary silver projects that are this advanced stage, so pre-feas stage now, where we'll be declaring proven and probable reserves. And you look at this, now we have almost 260 million ounces silver equivalent. And if you compare that to the assets held by most of the intermediate silver producers, these are all producers with much larger market caps than us, you can see that this project would absolutely move the needle for any primary, mid-tier sort of silver producer, I would say, out there. And so, yeah, our goal is, look, let's focus on exploration. We're explorers. Obviously, our team's done a phenomenal job over the last 3 years, and we see lots of runway ahead to continue to grow the resource. So that's our only focus at this stage is let's continue to grow the resource, advance this, get this to a construction decision stage. And then hopefully with better market conditions, we can evaluate obviously all our options down the road at the right time. But for now, the focus is crystal clear. Let's keep drilling, keep growing this, keep de-risking it. And we think, the scarcity sort of speaks for itself, and we just keep adding more and more value.
Which you're able to do at a very low cost and with around 11 cents an ounce discovery cost, and the price of silver now starting to look more bullish. The leverage to the silver price is quite appealing, and reason why I've been a long-term investor in the company. So I love to see the value being developed through the discovery and ounces adding, and it's quite the project. It's quite amazing to see this develop, and you doing the hard work during a period when a lot of companies aren't able to do some of this work, and in a sector which is finding not a lot of assets out there in the silver side. So quite interesting.
Correct. No, thanks, Peter. Thanks for your support. I know it's been quite frustrating in terms of the share price. Obviously, the entire sector has been sort of underweight, I would say, from most generalist investors. But we see sort of the light at the end of the tunnel now. We see silver prices finally strengthening somewhat, and then at the right time, as momentum and money starts flowing into this space, you'll see assets like ours, which are very scarce and are tremendously more valuable now than they were a couple of years ago. You'll finally see that being reflected in our share price. I've no doubt about that.
Looking forward to that. I've spent nearly 30 years investing in this sector, and I've had quite a few ups and downs. So I've learned to be very patient, and I know as depressing as this sector can be, can also flip a switch and things that can change quickly. So I'm glad to see the fundamental progress being made, and we'll just let the markets catch up at a certain point and recognize the value here. So I really appreciate the insights, John. Congratulations on the update of the resource, and looking forward to the pre-feasibility in a couple months.
Thanks very much.